Hi, my name is Zoe Harrington. I'm with Panther Productions in the OMTC in Mountain Grove, and today I'm interviewing Danielle King, who's a sports journalist with KY3. Thank you for taking the time. I know you're very busy with your sports journalism and stuff, and I just want to thank you on behalf of Panther Productions for letting us interview you today. And to start this interview, I just want to know what gravitated you towards storytelling in sports. Like, what made you interested in it?
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to talk to y'all, and you, Zoe. But I would say, from a young age, watching sports growing up, watching athletics, the things that gravitated towards me most was hearing those little tidbits and stories about the players, about maybe their family members, whatever it might be, that made them get to the point that they are in their sport. It always inspired me, and I felt like it inspires other people. It makes you interested not in just the athletic aspect of it or the winning at the end of the day, but also makes you root for them. Essentially, that underdog story. It's why should you like this team? What challenges did they face? What challenge did that point guard face? And why is he in the NBA now? Those kind of things. I just always love the storytelling behind it. And I knew I wanted to be one of those people to tell other people's stories one day.
I find that very interesting in myself because I do sports myself and I like to hear like what other people joining the sports that I do and other sports like in school like why they chose like football or like cheer, basketball. It's very interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah, because you never know. Maybe someone's really into football and their family never was into football and they're the one who picked it up and now the whole family is at every single game. They wouldn't miss it. That I think is also interesting. Just those little things like that.
So, you go through a high range. Is there like any difference in stories from high school to like Mizzou and baseball stars? Like, what's the difference between spotlighting the local heroes and like the pro athletes that you have the chance to journalize?
Yeah, I would say personally the biggest difference is the access. You are less likely to find out about an MLB player unless you are with the team on a day-to-day basis. You know someone that knows somebody that knows that athlete. When it comes to high school athletics, I am out and about at games all the time. So it allows me to get to know not just the community, but the athletes and everyone under the sun that helps put together these athletics. So it allows me to find out a lot more about the teams or an individual because I'm at these games so often and, just talking to the mom who might be taking photos that day or talking with the coach after a win or a loss. They might say, "Gosh, I'm so proud of this athlete because he had the flu all day today and was throwing up at halftime, and he was our leading scorer." It's those kind of things where, because I'm out and about and I have access to these high school sports so often, is that's usually where I'm able to find these kind of stories. But when it came to me being at Mizzou, for instance, I was in college and so were the athletes. And my freshman year, I was in the athlete dorm. So I became really good friends with people in track and field, some soccer players, like not the mainstream sports. And so I was able to, get to know them on a friend level as well, and they were able to tell me their stories. So sometimes just having that access can really
Mhm.
help you at the end of the day to get to those stories or be able to express someone in a whole different light.
You've honestly even reported one here for our one state game. That was very interesting to see. Like, it was really cool to see someone from KY3 come to a local high school and just like report on stuff like that. I think it's very interesting and like it just like inspires that like kids that are in the stands to do the same. But for athlete of the week, what stands out most to you? Like the stats like that you see during the game or like the story behind the like athlete itself?
I would say it's a Combination of both. Usually, our athlete of the week is we kind of derive a list going into a season of athletes that we should be aware of and keep an eye for. Whether, especially this upcoming season, for example, or this season we're in right now with basketball, if someone's hitting 1,500 to 2,000 points, that right there is an athlete of the week to us, knowing that they hit that milestone. That's huge. And that's a few of the stories that we recently have done. Um, when it comes to wrestling, maybe a senior girl who is bound to go to state, that's interesting because girls wrestling is definitely on the rise. It's not a newer concept now, but for a lot of people it is. It's something I've covered for years, but it's still a cool thing to showcase and spotlight. Girls in sports. Anytime I can ever dedicate time and energy into that, I am going to say, let's do it any day. So I'd say athlete of the week has a bunch of variables that goes into the mix, and then it's just figuring out those other stories along with it. Usually it happens right when we're there doing the interview with the athlete. Recently I did a 2,000 point milestone athlete of the week, and when I texted the coach asking if we could come out, he was like, yeah, actually he's also going to set the all-time scoring record for our high school that was set by his dad. Sometimes stuff like that just lands in our lap. So I mean, I interviewed an athlete of the week 2 years ago at this rate, I believe, maybe 1 year ago. And during the interview, he told me that he had cancer as a kid. It was never supposed to be swimming. And here he is to this day setting a state record. So you never know sometimes. Usually it's based off of performance, and then we can find a story within them at the end of the day.
Is there anyone that the athlete of the week story that stands out to you and just like puts a mark on your rest of time athlete of the week stories, or is it just like all of them just leave an impact on you in your career?
Gosh, that's a good question. You know, every single athlete of the week is different, um, because as of recently, there's been quite a few of them where these usually boys are telling us that they really like hunting, and I am not well versed in hunting by any means. So I feel like sometimes it kind of puts me in a position where I get to learn a lot more too about them or something they're interested in, or honestly people in the area are interested in. So it's always fun kind of putting those little tidbits in. So I'd say maybe stuff like that kind of takes me out of my comfort zone really has stuck out to me. Like I said, the athlete of the week that I did, where he told me he had cancer, his name is Ethan Vance, and he was a Camdenton swimmer, and he's actually swimming at Mizzou now. And yeah, he had told me during the interview that he had cancer. They told him he needed to slow things down, and he just never stopped. He never stopped playing any sports, got into swimming really late on, and became super successful early on in his swimming career, even though he picked it up so late. And that was something that really stuck out to me just because I just when he told me that, I was blown away, and I was like, "Wait, you need to elaborate on this." And so now I feel like, honestly, because of the questions I formed with him, it helped me as I progressed to figure out ways to make someone feel a lot more comfortable talking with me about those things, because that's very vulnerable. And I want you to be able to trust that I can dictate that story in a proper manner, and that inspires people. And tell them that you telling me that, me being able to showcase that, that inspires people. They're gonna respect what you do 10 times more. So I would say that one really sticks out to me to this day.
That is a very inspiring story. I would um, that one-on-one contact with the players really, like, helps the questions, like, unfold and really get their, story out to the world. But with the rise of, like, social media and digital platforms, like, how has that affected you and your career of covering these sports and getting their stories out into the world?
Actually, I would say that we have started to adapt to social media. We're trying to build a lot better of a presence on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or X. Sorry, I always call it Twitter still. We try to do a better job with that. I have my own personal Facebook, and I'll just say, hey guys, I'm here at this game. This is what you should know about it. We'll have highlights later tonight. Just those little tidbits. I think it's good to just show a face sometimes too, just to show, hey, we went to this game today, and I went to these 5 games today, and whatever it might be. Lets the viewers know that we're trying to get everywhere in the area. And I think social media really helps to do that, because you could just post a little tidbit. It doesn't need to be anything extravagant at the end of the day, but it just lets you know this is what's happening, and you can find out the rest at ky3.com or watch the show. So I feel like we're doing a pretty good job of adapting to it. Obviously, like when I'm holding a camera and I'm also running to the coach to get post game interview after at the end of a football game, the first thing I don't think to do sometimes is take out my phone in between all of that, and I'm trying to get better at that. And I know that there are going to be, for example, Missouri State, they have the people that are doing the productions side of things, and they have their commentators, and I'm a one woman band, I should say. I'm doing it all. So I understand at the end of the day, I'm not going to be the first one sometimes to be able to put out the buzzer beater, let's say, but I'll do my best. And I think that's just kind of how things are adapting. Is that you're seeing that some people are putting emphasis into getting that stuff out first, but we still, at the end of the day, have a show to put on, and so that's always going to be my top priority before social media.
Speaking of social media, do you use it to set up your interviews, or do you more like just like get your name out there, send emails? I just want to know how you set up the interviews with these players and coaches.
Yeah, absolutely. So when it comes to the high school level, usually we just text whether it be the AD or the coach, and usually tell them, hey, we want to interview so and so. When's a good day to come out? Do you have a practice on Tuesday? That's pretty much how we do it, or email if we don't have their phone number. But we keep like a whole list of contacts of coaches and ADs so that we can get a hold of them best. And then when it comes to the collegiate level or the pros, usually there's a middleman. At Missouri State, they're called like a sports information director. So you reach out to them and you say, hey, I'm really interested in doing a story on blah, blah, blah. But I didn't know when we'd be able to get it done. Preferably, my days available are Monday, Tuesday, and Friday. And they will say, okay, we'll talk with them and get back to you. So there's 2 different ways to go about it. Kind of like I said earlier, access is very different from the high school level versus collegiate or the pros or so on. But usually just text. Even some of these SIDs that I'm in touch with here at Missouri State, or let's say SBU or Drury, I just text them and they'll say, cool, Danielle, we'll set it up for you. So it's pretty cool. Once you're here for a while, I think I'm now 2.5 years in at KY3. They're just like, text us. So, maybe someone will prefer that you do it a formal way via email, but most people I've found, they just are like, yeah, just text me.
With these interviews, can you walk us through your typical workday and how what part of your job you look forward to the most, like with the interviews and just like other aspects of your job?
Yeah, so my day to day, would you say like a day that I'm doing an athlete of the week, or like covering a game, or what would you say? Because I guess okay, covering a game. Um, So I'll usually come in, do a little bit of research, whether it was that night before or when I get in, and then I head out to my games, and I grab all my gear, which is like right behind me. I don't know if you really could see it, but we have like a massive backpack with all my equipment and make sure everything's fully charged, ready to go. Head out to my game, which can be 10 minutes down the road to Republic High School, or it could be an hour and a half away to Thayer. You never know. But then I head out and pretty much just film the games. At halftime, I usually try to edit. my highlights just to get it in for our 9 o'clock show if things are running behind schedule. And then I'll get the rest of the game, maybe even post game, set it up, interview the coach, and then I crank everything out, edit everything, um, make sure it's in on time. We have a 9 o'clock show at like 9:50, and then a 10 o'clock show at around 10:20. So I'm on deadline. So I'm also in the back of my head thinking while I'm filming everything and editing, how efficiently can I do all of this? So, that is how my day to day usually looks. Let's say if I'm covering a game today, I'm anchoring. So, like, I'll usually get in around 3 o'clock. I produce my entire show, and then I will anchor that all. And then I'm going to actually head out to the Missouri State game tonight, do all of that like I just told you, but then rush back to also be in studio and have the entire show produced and anchored for 9 and 10. So every day is kind of all over the place, just depending on what you're doing. And then what was the second part of your question?
What part of it do you like look forward to doing it the most?
Ooh, I honestly love being out in the community. Like I love being a reporter. If I am a reporter and today I'm anchoring because our sports director Sully just had a baby, so congratulations Sully. So we're down a person and Chris deserves an off day. So, but usually I'm out and about in the community and I love that part. I love getting to meet everyone. I love everything that goes along with being there, filming a game, editing it, whatever it might be. Um, I think it just makes you feel like you have developed that culture with whatever team or whatever family or whatever community it might be that you're in. And it helps me feel like I have a better idea of how important these games or these teams are to everybody around me. So I would say hands down that's my favorite part.
Given this jam-packed schedule and like busy and community involving life that you live with your job, what skills and traits do you think that someone that is interested in sports journaling should have or should gain?
I would say that if someone is interested in going into sports journalism, I think it's really important that they are a people person. You are going to be meeting a lot of people, um, whether it's someone that is super young or super old, and you just want to figure out how to communicate with them best. You're going to meet people that don't like to talk a lot. So it's figuring out ways to make them comfortable and make them want to talk to you. There are often many interviews where I feel like it's me talking mostly, and that's okay because I'm trying to get them comfortable, get a feel for what it's like and let them realize that this interview is about you and I want to hear more about you and just have it be conversational. I can talk anybody's ear off any day. Maybe I need to like chill on that sometimes. Um, but I would say that's a big thing. And also, I think just having a passion for it. When I went to Mizzou for sports journalism, there were about 50 people in the sports journalism career track. And I graduated with about eight, I want to say. It's grueling, it's long days, it's long hours. You're not going to be on ESPN coming right out of college. And it's hard, but it's also super rewarding. And if you put the time and energy into it, those rewarding days are going to outshine the really, really long, tough days. And it's so worth it, but you just have to power through. So I think also just having kind of like that tough skin and that like strong mentality is super, super important, because it's not always going to be easy, but also some days are so rewarding and so fun. And you're like, wow, I get to do this for a living. I can't believe it.
That's great. And speaking of this like long, grueling path of being a sports journalist, do you have any advice to media students or things to prepare, like ranging from how to prepare for interviews or just
Sure.
like keeping the good attitude and keeping on the right track?
I would say build connections. I think that is so important in this career you'll come to find out if you do come into this industry that everybody knows everybody. Somehow, some way, the SID, sports information director, that you met at a previous university might be at the one that you are now covering at your new station. It's kind of crazy how things align like that, but I would say building connections, building, that kind of circle as well is super important, and, for anyone going into this industry, just being able to talk with people who are, at a local station like I am, it's great because that's usually how most people will start out if they're wanting to go in this sort of career path. But also, I have connections from people who are NHL reporters and also MLB reporters. And it's really interesting to hear, 20 years down the road, how they got to that point. You never know. They might also know somebody that knows somebody that might be able to help you out if you're looking for a job. So I would say building connections and just being nice to everyone because, like I said, someone might know someone, and if they're like, "Oh, she was so, like, happy and willing to, like, talk with me about this," that might help you down the road as well. So, it might sound dumb, I know everyone should be nice to everyone, but I think that it really does go pretty long way when you are in this career path as well.
Do you have any advice on how to build connections with, sports, like, even other sports journalists or, like, just getting your name out there? Do you have any advice on
Yeah.
that?
Um, Personally, I feel like I started building a lot of connections the start of college because I was super involved. There's a lot of organizations where you can get together with people that have the same views and the same aspirations as you. One of my favorites was Awesome. It's the Association of Women in Sports Media, and we would gather every single week, and we would then do a Zoom call or an in-person conference with people all over the industry. I mean, we've had people as well known as Holly Rowe as one of our guests to someone who just is like a producer at a local station, was giving us a little kind of spiel on that. And I think just being involved allows you to meet those kind of people. And I know that you don't have to just be in college to join an organization like that. But that really kind of helps and gives you a platform on how to get to know people. LinkedIn has been a great source. And also, honestly, it can be something as simple as you looking up to someone and DMing them on Instagram. Well, a reporter that I really look up to, I reached out to her on Instagram and we had like a 40-minute phone call like a week later. It could be just as simple as that because it was also a female in sports. I know that I would be more than happy to help anyone down the road, and she was in that same mentality, and so it was really nice that she was able to just you know, respond to my DM almost immediately and then just talk with me. So I think also just putting yourself out there, it's I guess there's no really, uh set kind of way to build those connections, but as long as you are reaching out and trying to figure out those ways, you'll find them. I believe in you.
Well, thank you for that advice. Is there any other
Mhm.
form of advice that you'd want anyone listening to know about, like, you or just experiences you've had?
Ooh. Um, I would say that it's awesome for anybody who wants to go down this career path. It's super rewarding. It's different every single day, and I think that honestly, anybody that wants to go into this, like, I believe in you. You can do it. It's not easy, but it's also so rewarding and it's so worth it. That's what I'd have to say.
Well, thank you for that advice, and, I just wanna thank you on behalf of Panther Productions for, giving us time to interview you for our community and for everyone listening. I just wanna thank you, Danielle.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you again for having me.
Yeah, thank you.